much to talk about. So much to talk about. I'm Diane Russell.
And I'm Brian Gallagher. Welcome to HBL Radio Nation. We're going to kick off with a couple of things that Di's got on her mind.
Wow. Let's just start with where we left off, because we do our show every Thursday, and on Friday last week we had the voting for the
round 15.
Speaker of the House. Round 15. Like it's a boxing match. Oh my God.
Can I add something really quick in about
Sure.
that? Every time they call the roll for voices, realize that there's a Representative Cartwright. And if you are a fan of Seinfeld, when they're calling, they have to call it twice. So Cartwright is going to make you laugh every single time that they do it if you're a fan.
Well, it reminded me of Bueller.
Yeah, a little bit of that. But
yeah,
Cartwright's very specific to the Chinese
especially
restaurant
when they called on Santos and he didn't recognize his name.
Oh yeah,
because that's not really his fucking name.
Yeah, and yeah, he was busy, left or right, swiping at that point.
He was also, snuggling up to MTG and and the fight, the face grab of what's his name, Roger something.
I'm not paying too much attention to that because I think it was all theatrical.
I also heard after the fact that Mad Gates went like this, but it was off camera, and
it's everybody rubbing their antlers against the biggest tree.
And the photographers captured it, and I just think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's Republicans in disarray. They are so screwed, and Kevin McCarthy literally gave away
the infighting's fantastic.
The store.
It is.
He gave away the store. He has no power.
The committees are going to be ridiculous.
Everybody owns his ass. It's and it's kind of a beautiful thing because they're not going to get fucking shit done, and we all fucking know that.
Yeah, they're going to deadlock themselves. I mean, they're made up of nothing but cinemas and mansions.
Oh God.
So that's going to be fantastic. That was a spectacular.
And the same day, I just want you to know, there was protests outside the Capitol that day, and Ashley Babbitt's mom got arrested. Do you remember that? Did you hear about that? Yeah.
I did hear about that because
she
I heard
literally
Cheetah was out there making a bunch of
the cops
truths.
Yeah.
Whatever you call the tweets over there, and he was saying a bunch of things about how they were patriots
Mussolini.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And the cops were Mango Mussolini.
Yes.
The cops were literally like, get off the street and get on the sidewalk, or you're going to get arrested. There is no negotiation.
Right.
And she went like this. Like, go ahead. Yeah. Like, she wanted to get arrested so
the
that
funny thing is that they don't ever arrest you like this. They put you on your knees, your hands go behind your back, and they're not as nice as you would think about it.
Not to white ladies. And we got to talk about also the Brazilian insurrection that was hilarious with its own QAnon shaman.
Yes.
With people selling cotton candy and T-shirts.
Yeah, great merch opportunity.
Oh my God, great merch opportunity. And nobody was there, and everybody's like, none of the people who...
Yeah, none of the actual politicians were working
in the building. It was off. It was Sunday. It was like...
for their police, who didn't mess around, let's say.
Oh my God.
They brought in water cannons immediately.
They arrested like 1,000 people, and 400 people have already been...
They were blasting people out of the building. Like through the open windows or through the windows that they just broke. They're blasting them out through that with water cannons.
And Bannon,
Roger Stone, and a bunch of the other QAnons.
Steve Miller.
They were all on a giant screen TV at a rally just before this. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
And they were riling everybody up. And my question to all these QAnons and all these right-wingers is, hey, if you're so American first, why are you so concerned about what's going on in Brazil? Why are you so up in Brazil's business? Get out, why are you stirring up a coup in another country? It's because they can. They want to see how the blueprint works.
Obvious psyops. Obvious information warfare. Obvious psyops.
Disinformation warfare is what I would say, yeah.
Well, I call it information. Yeah. And Malcolm Nance?
Yes.
Okay. Malcolm Nance is like, this is information warfare. Don't call it misinformation, disinformation, no. This is psyops.
Mm-hmm.
This is what General, what's fucking name? General, the traitor.
You're gonna have to narrow it down.
No,
Meadows.
no.
No, General Flynn.
Michael Flynn. Yeah, QAnon nut job. Yeah. General Flynn. He's first of all, he was trained in psyops, along with, by the way, Ashley Babbitt.
Well, so were
Was trained in psyops.
And a lot of the people that work for Facebook and a lot of the social media are familiar with all those techniques as well. They use a lot of the same techniques to see how they can manipulate things in other countries and by region.
Yeah. And Malcolm
There's a whole
Nance
documentary about it, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, Malcolm Nance was like, this is information warfare. Don't say any other word besides that, because you are, it's just like fake news. Call it fucking lies.
Mm-hmm.
When you call it fake news, it softens it. No, this is information warfare. You have to start there, and then we can talk. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah. So the whole and Bolsonaro and his son are hanging out in Orlando, Florida, walking around grocery stores. We saw that.
They were hanging out at Yam Tits' shitty golf motel that he has down there, Maraluni. They were down there. These are.
Oh God!
They're jokes, people. Just telling jokes, just so that you know. Because we were suspended for a little bit because of something I said for making a dumb joke.
Yeah, it's
These are jokes, people. They're jokes.
Well, Tony will put up the satire. Look at it, satire.
There we go. Excellent. Excellent.
Tony, can you
Yes.
put that screen up on this TV?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of yeah.
So Tony's our producer, and
Tony's the best producer.
Tony-
Look at this. He's
Tony's not on mic.
Rebuilt the whole studio.
I think Tony
He's
should
on
say
mic.
hello.
He has a mic.
He should
He's
say
gonna
hello.
negative. I know he's going to say negative.
Alive!
So the Fonnie Willis too has just they've finished their investigation. Now they can do the pressing the charges. I don't know all the details because I'm not a fucking lawyer, but they can move forward with the 11,780 days.
Mm-hmm. The perfect phone call.
Oh God, so dumb.
Yeah, well, they can move forward with this phase of it, but each phase is going to have rounds and rounds of appeals and that sort of thing, and all kinds of legal positioning, all of that.
Right.
The more you pay for an attorney, the more they understand legal positioning, not the law, not whether or not you're actually guilty. It's just all about legal positioning. And that's a neat segue because I'm going to talk about my favorite 5 from the files right now.
Sure.
I've got 5 things that I just threw down very briefly for this
You
week.
just shake your paper louder.
I do have to shake it. I'm going to switch over to a tablet so I can read it from further away too. The UK banned single-use plastics. Thank you, UK. That is awesome. So that means you can't get plastic utensils with your takeaways and that sort of thing.
Sure.
Fantastic. I'm actually happy about that.
I think it's cool.
Ann Arbor schools decided to mask up for a 2-week period after the winter break. Makes total sense. Thank you, Ann Arbor schools, for following science.
Yep.
The NRA holes for showing us exactly what would happen if we did arm elementary schools.
Wait.
Because the 6-year-old.
Oh,
shot the
yeah.
teacher.
Oh my God, that.
Yep.
First of all, that story. Wait, we can't just move on. We have to talk about that.
We can come back to it. You want to come back to it?
No, let's talk.
Okay,
Can we
let's
talk
talk
about
about
it from now
Sure.
that you brought it up?
Sure.
This is the most horrifying thing, I think, out of all the school shootings, even though all of them are horrifying.
It
And
was
I
inevitable.
don't mean to diminish any of them. I don't. It's not that. This is a 6-year-old.
Yes.
Where the fuck are the parents?
Exactly. Where the fuck were the parents locking the gun up?
Where
Why wasn't the gun locked
a
up?
6-year-old shouldn't even know you have a fucking gun in the house.
Well, they would say that they'll take a 6-year-old and take them shooting because they need to understand the weapon and understand what it does and how to deal with it. I know a lot of people that are shooters, so
Tony, go to my
that's one
Twitter
aspect
page
of
and
it.
go look for
But
all the gun
I agree with
toting
you because you know that I'm anti-gun.
mofos that put out Christmas pictures with their little kids
Yep.
holding guns.
And I'm not an ammo-sexual myself. I don't like guns. I don't like all that shooting.
Negative.
I've fired all kinds of guns and certainly took my time in a previous life of doing all kinds of stuff with it. But I mean, the gun deaths in the U.S., there have been more gun deaths in the U.S. since 9/11 than the number of lives that were lost in 9/11. So that's something to really keep in mind. If we have that many deaths, if we have that much gun violence going on, there's too much guns. This kid should never have had access to a gun.
6
Should
years
not have
old.
known
6.
how to use it, and had the attitude of, hey, I'm not only going to get this gun,
But
I'm going
I'm
to bring
pissed.
it with me, but
I'm
I'm
pissed
doing
at
it
my
because I'm mad at my teacher,
Yeah.
and I'm going to shoot her because she didn't do what I
Yeah.
wanted her to do.
Right. I remember in 4th grade, I had this
Is it really
terrible.
that we have to spank kids again?
I remember in 4th grade, I had this terrible teacher. I was thinking back on it, and I don't know how old you are when you're in 4th grade. I don't know. But I was thinking back, would I bring a gun to school to shoot her? Because I hated her so much.
I had nuns.
And she treated me like shit. Would I do that? And I had to say absolutely fucking not. I wouldn't.
I don't know.
I
I'd
don't-
been sending him to a better place. But
I don't understand.
Joking.
No, I just don't understand. And it's a horrifying story. A 6-year-old had access to a gun
yes,
and brings it to school, shoots the teacher. The teacher is still in critical or doing better,
she's out of critical, but she's stable, but
yeah.
she's been shot by a
Say
6-year-old.
hello to my little friend.
And she's a teacher. So what kind of mental scarring is going to be there? I mean, these are the people that we should be protecting the most from any gun violence. First is children, second is teachers, because they're the ones who we
And I'm
trust with our
sorry,
children.
teachers need to be paid
A lot
like
more.
NBA
A lot
and NFL players.
Why don't NBA and NFL players
They
just
should be
donate
paid.
1% of their salary into a giant fund, and you could pay the teachers, give them all a bonus
Pay
with
them
that.
$1
Every
million
teacher in the
a
US.
year. Can you imagine if teachers got paid $1 million a year to do their jobs?
There's a lot that we could do if a lot of rich people would
Don't
just
be
open
such
up
a
a wall.
fool.
Just for a couple minutes. That's all. We could do all kinds of things.
It's
But guns, the gun violence is a major problem, and it's going to continue. But that was, thank
is
you,
it the
NRA-holes,
did I
for showing
say
us
the
about
7 members? Okay, we haven't even got there. The 7 Democratic members whose houses or businesses were shot up in New Mexico.
Oh,
This
right.
is something that has fallen under the radar with all the fucking Republican shenanigans. That seriously, like a half a dozen or more Democrats in New Mexico, either their houses or businesses have had shots
Yeah.
at them. Now they
Unacceptable.
didn't hit anybody, but it's like a threat. It's like
But this shows
it's
what
intimidation.
That shows what happens in the NRA whole nation, is that you have all these people who we have guns, we feel like shooting them. Now, what's the next step?
Remember that
Next
guy?
step's having a couple of these. Now what are you going to do?
Do you
Now
remember
we're gonna
that
shoot some
guy
stuff
that
we
was?
want to shoot.
I forget where he was, but he was in like a council meeting, and he's like, "When can we bring out the guns? When can we start shooting these people?" Do you remember that?
Oh, there's been a couple, but I think I know the one
There
you're
was
talking
one
about. That was
specific
like
one that was very.
That was about a year and a half ago, I think. Is that the one you're thinking?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
When all the school the school
Yeah,
board
when
meetings
can
rather
we
were
bring
going
out
crazy.
again?
Yeah.
Why can't we start shooting people? Fuck.
It's crazy. It really is. But
I was thinking the other day, I'm like, would you go to a concert anymore? Like, would you go to, like, I don't even want to go where there's a lot of people anymore. Not only because of COVID, but because I'm afraid of mass shootings.
I don't want to go to where there's mass amounts of people, mostly because I hate people, but also, you're welcome. But also, yeah, people just don't understand. Even after COVID, they don't understand the cover your mouth when you cough thing. They just don't get it. But
I'm like that all the time.
yeah, yeah. But I've been around people who just willy nilly just write out as if and nothing, and I'm like, where have you been the past 2.5, 3 years? What the hell has been going through your mind? But really quick, I want to cover these other two, and then
so
we'll
I'm
get back
sorry
to,
we got off on the
back to other
shooting
stuff.
thing,
So
but what was your next two?
my other two were another one of my five faves. The GOP tells Santos to stand down, to step down, and that's hilarious. Now
This is a new development.
McCarthy
Love
doesn't
this.
follow up on it, and he says that he won't do it because he got elected. But the guy got elected under false pretenses. Either way, my final one was, and this one touches very close to home for me. This is a show that we just went to go see. This is something that this institution has members of my family on the board, and that is the Detroit Institute of Arts. And during a recent Van Gogh in America show, which I went to, which was pretty fantastic, and it was packed, absolutely packed.
I should have gone.
Phenomenal show, and they're really doing great with the audio presentations and everything as you go through. But it turns out one of the pieces was a piece that a Brazilian collector about 6 or 8 years ago loaned out to someone for some valuation or something along those lines, and the person stole it. And now it winds up on the wall at DIA. So there's a lot of questions behind it, and there's a lot of lawsuits now going into play about it. So the DIA may have got some hot stuff.
Stolen art. Well,
Little hot art.
I always was fascinated by the people who tracked down all the stolen artwork that the Nazis stole.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? During World War II.
Well, do you know what happened?
Sometimes I guess there just aren't enough
rocks.
rocks.
I can't hear you.
Allegedly, most of the gold that was stolen that was never recovered was recovered by America, but we used it to start the CIA.
No,
That's
well, what about the Amber Room? We never found the Amber Room.
Mm-hmm.
I was always fascinated with the art hunters because I'm an artist. I went to the Art Institute of Chicago. I studied art history, and then when and I have to be honest, in my high school days, my history teacher was the fucking worst fucking person on the fucking planet. It was like, oh God, okay, here we go. It's the Constitution.
Most of our teachers were just
blah blah blah. It was literally like
collecting a check.
I fell asleep every day during history class because it was like that Ferris Bueller Day Off, monotone teacher. Yeah, it was awful. And so since then, I have really, tried to educate myself, right? And through movies and reading and all sorts of things, I've learned all about these people who went to go hunt down this art.
Mm-hmm.
They have these things on the History Channel now where they find the art and they find some things, but they haven't found these things. And I think it's fascinating.
There's a documentary you should watch. It's called The Art of the Steal. And it's all about this collection that was put together in Philadelphia. And the gentleman who put this collection together in the early 1900s, he died, bequeathed it to other people. They followed up on it. They formed a foundation around it. And the whole thing it wasn't a museum. It was a private collection that was put up in a special house that he had built, where everything was all designed for you to enjoy these works of art together. Multiple works of art on one wall, not just one piece. It wasn't barren the way that museums are now.
Right.
It was a really, really interesting collection. And the last thing he wanted was for those things to be on tour or to go into a museum. And 50, 60 years after he died, enough people finagle themselves and they start rewriting the trust that this guy had written. They start rewriting his will, his last will and testament, as to what the intents of the art were. It's a really interesting documentary. I highly recommend it.
Do you know the name of it?
Yeah, it's called The Art of the Steal.
Okay.
Yep, it's a really good documentary. But moving away from art and to something that really disgusts me. Thank you. Because crickets are animals too.
Can I get a beer, Tony?
We love animals. That's something that we all share here. Every one of us here loves animals.
You said this on Twitter today. I said, "What are you talking about?"
As of this week.
I did not hear about
due
this.
to turn of the century laws and
oh
all
my
that,
God!
the courts in Hamtramck, Michigan, just outside of Detroit.
Wait. Do we need to do a caveat about the people that live there?
I don't know. I read this from Detroit News. This is all reported by Detroit News or DetNews.com and Freep.com or the Detroit Free Press. So this is me repeating their words. This is not our words to the audience out there.
Okay, so
that
this is from what news?
DetNews.com, Detroit News.
Detroit News, okay.
And Freep, which is the Detroit Free Press.
Okay.
Freep.com.
Yeah.
Now, they have reported that the courts are now going to allow, in certain situations, for religious purposes, animal sacrifice in the city limits of Hamtramck.
I have a question.
Now, my question to them was, what the hell happened to animal cruelty laws?
I have a question. Are these animals I'm raising my hand. I have a question. Are these animals they sacrifice to consume for the religion, or is it just blood lust?
It did not sound like it was differentiated. It sounded like it was bloodlust.
Oh, God. Okay.
But I did not get examples.
So go on with your story. I'm sorry.
Of the animals.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but
no, that's fine. That's a good question. That's why we're here.
When I thought about it, I'm like, wait a minute. We've been doing this for centuries. You know, they sacrifice animals in some kind of religious ceremony, and then they cook it, and then they eat it. So
a lot of religions do that to this day. Yeah.
We cook and eat a lot of animals. Okay. There's just not a religious ceremony going, and I don't chop the head off the chicken and pull the fucking, you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
hopefully it's chicken.
But you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's
even if it's chicken,
I'm trying to figure out
you know?
Like how, first of all, are they doing it to consume the animal, or are they doing it for bloodlust? And that was my question after. Yeah. We hit, and you don't really know the answer.
I don't really know, but it did sound to me from the stories that I read that it was more on the bloodlust line. And they would not get into what animals, they would not get into what the ceremonies were, what the religions were that represented those ceremonies, and they would not say what the purpose was for in the ceremony. So that's, of course they don't want to say that. But there's all kinds of things going on at Hamtramck City Council. They're hearing all kinds of arguments back and forth around this, and they've heard.
There's a lot of people who are, I don't even know, ethnic, I guess you could say, that live in Hamtramck, and there's a lot of ethnicities there, not just one. And so, I don't know. You know my stance on religion. I think it's all fucking bullshit. But
I'm okay with anyone's religious beliefs as long as they better themselves and better others. The second that your religious belief tells you to start hurting others or changing others, that's when I have an issue with it. And my personal beliefs
sacrificing animals sounds really bad, but we do it all the time just for food and sustenance. So
to eat them, yes. If I was eating them for dinner, that's
if
one thing.
If it's for bloodlust and they're gonna drink their blood and it's bats and fucking weirdo shit, I have a problem with it. Otherwise, I'm kind of don't have a fucking problem with it.
What about the Chinese dog eating ceremony? That's a religious ceremony.
Oh Jesus, I have a fucking problem with that.
I'm asking a question.
I have a problem with that.
I'm asking a question. Yeah, and
okay, but they eat the dog and whatever, and monkey brains and whatever over there. Fuck them. Oh my God.
That's the
Can I move on to
Yes.
what I
There
thought
ain't
was
no
a
coming
great,
back. This is the
a great segment on Rachel Maddow on Monday when she was kind of reviewing and reliving all of the armed protests that the right wing did during 2020. Now we have to think back. COVID restrictions happened in March, right? We had the Michigan Capitol in Lansing overtaken for mask
Overrun.
mandates.
And it was overrun by people
And they were
with
all
their
armed.
open carry.
All armed.
Yeah, and it's their open carry right, which is wrong for them because that's totally
How
intimidating.
can you bring
How
a
can that not be
gun?
intimidating?
How can you bring a gun into the House of Representatives in Lansing? I want to know.
The second that
What do you want
somebody
me to
tells
do?
me that they
Move
have
to
a
the
gun,
left.
I'm not.
the second that somebody
I'm trying to
tells me
see.
that they have a gun,
You don't have to see him.
the problem is that I've already changed my opinion about them from that moment. Period. If you tell me that you have a gun on you right now, I'm going to agree a lot more with you. I'm going to say anything that I need to say, whether I believe it or not, to
Yeah.
get the hell out of there, to get the hell away from you.
Right.
Because you know me, I
The
talk
House
my
of
way out of
Representatives
situations before
were
anything else.
were literally on the floor. They had people up in the gallery pointing guns at them
Yeah, in the Michigan legislature. Yeah.
during 2020.
Yes.
All the other protests that we had
Laws are going into place
that happened
that
at
should
every
prevent that.
all these capitals, we forget because the shithose of news. I wanted to also talk about
The shithose of news.
fucking
I like that.
shithose of news. I was gonna save this for the end, but now that I brought it up, I'm just gonna say it now.
It's fucking poetry. It is.
No, I just want to say to the people who might be hearing this and who are pro-democracy, the shitstorm of news, real or bullshit, that is going to be thrown at us for the next 2 years is going to be, colossal. And we have to be ready for it. We have to be aware that it's. Remember, Steve Bannon said, just throw a shitstorm of shithose of news at them. Do you remember Steve Bannon saying that?
That's what dumb apes do. They throw shit.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. I try
We
not
have to be
listen
ready.
Steve Bannon.
We have to stay on point. We have to keep fighting the good fight. It will not be pretty. It will not be pretty. But democracy must prevail.
And we must keep our humor about us while we do it.
It must prevail.
You can't handle
And I
the
hate
truth.
using the word prevail because it was a fucking Bush word. He used all the time that annoyed the fuck out of me.
You know me. I'm with you on the fight the entire way until I hit retirement.
Otherwise, we're gonna fall into, autocracy, authoritarianism, plutocracy, whatever you want to fucking call it. We're gonna fall into that if we're not fucking careful. We have got to, for the next few elections, and I'm talking like 7. We have to be so pro-democracy, and we have to get out our the fucking half of people that don't vote in this country really piss me off.
Right.
They
Yeah.
really piss me off. Go fuck yourself. You're gonna
Vote.
complain.
Vote.
You're gonna complain about this. You're gonna complain about that.
Vote. If
I
you're not
don't
voting-
want to vote for Hillary because I don't like her voice and her pantsuits.
Can we call that character Millie?
Go
I don't know
fuck
why.
yourself,
That's Millie. Millie is a new character on the show. Thank you.
Nothing is over.
bitch.
You just don't turn it off.
And now they're trying to gas stoves are the devil, and they're coming after your gas stoves and your guns
Well,
and
All
your
you gotta
Bible.
say is Hunter
one of the things from the
Biden's
world view
laptop.
that is showing what politics are moving towards and what we're going to be moving towards, and something that's going to happen here in the U.S. I am predicting it here on the show with you, everybody watching. Ready? Here it is. Before the end of the next 2 years, this will be duplicated in the U.S. In the U.K., in the United Kingdom, a couple of parliament members, they're, just politicians like we have here, members of government, they were either walking along, they were doing a presentation, something, someone threw something at them. Now, we've seen shoes thrown, we've seen everything else thrown, we've seen pies thrown. This was shit. Human shit. Humans threw shit at politicians in a public setting.
In UK.
In the UK. This
There was a firefight!
This is going to happen here.
Like shit in the
next
halls
2
of
years. Within the
Congress.
next 2 years, they already shit in the halls of Congress.
And
Within the next 2
pissed.
years, they're going to throw shit at a politician live somewhere. And then somebody's going to get shot because
who do
in
you
the
want
UK,
it to be
they throw
first?
shit. In the UK, they throw shit and people
Who
go,
do you want it
oh,
to be
that's not
first?
right. That's not fucking right. But over here, you
Wait.
throw shit and you're like, I didn't like that. Bam!
Brian,
They're gonna
who
kill
do
them.
you want it to be first? And I'm talking Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert.
I'm afraid
Any
they're the
of
ones
them.
that might do the throwing. Their followers might be the ones doing the throwing.
Oh,
So I
that's
really
true.
think that,
Yeah, because
it's
no
not gonna be
Democrat would ever do
Yeah.
that.
Oh, there's plenty that would. I would, but.
Negative. I would not. That's again. I would not. Again, I went back to when I hated my school teacher.
Yeah.
Would I bring a gun to shoot her?
No.
I hated her with every fucking fiber of my being.
Right.
But I wouldn't bring a gun to school to shoot her. That's
I flipped them all
crossing
off.
the goddamn fucking line. And
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody knows it, but that's crossing the goddamn fucking line.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm as
I
mad
said,
as
I had
hell,
nuns.
and
There
I'm
had
not
been a
going to
bigger-
take this
a
anymore.
bigger line to shoot a nun. I'm not sure.
And the gas stove thing.
The gas stove thing. Oh, wow.
Now the Democrats are coming after your gas stoves.
They
know,
are
by the way, do you know
recommending
where the story
hotel-
comes from?
That restaurants change from
No.
gas
Do you know where this story comes from?
warmers over, I thought.
The story comes
Yeah.
from there's a place in California that got burned down. Okay? And instead of putting in gas stoves again,
Mm-hmm.
they want to put in electric stoves because obviously
Right.
putting gas lines in a fucking fire hazard place is not a fucking smart idea.
Fire hazard place. That's the technical name for a flammable building.
God, for
The next
Christ's
time I have to
fucking
come in
sakes.
here, I'm cracking
And the
skulls.
next thing you know, they're taking your gas stoves.
Millie's back. Millie's
Gas
back.
stoves.
Millie's coming for your gas stoves, everybody.
They're changing the sexy M&Ms into misogynistic,
Freud was right.
transvestite groomers.
You know what their problem is?
They're turning, I don't know,
The M&Ms are all brown inside.
Mr.
That's the
Potato
problem. That's the big
Head
problem.
into a unisex nothing man.
Thank you,
Cut it
Millie.
I don't know what else to fucking say. It's so goddamn retarded.
you
That is crazy, but yeah, that does fit.
I did make this word up. It's called tarded. I don't know if it's offensive. It's offensive. I won't use it anymore, but I'm just saying tarded.
Tarted.
Tarded.
T-A-R-T-E-D.
T-A-R-D-E-D.
8-year-olds do.
Tarded.
Yeah,
They're
probably.
just
Yeah,
tarded.
that would be offensive. I would think.
Do you think it's...
Yeah, and that's me.
It's... If it's offensive, I will absolutely stop using it. But that's my wording. I don't know what else to call it.
So,
Ridiculousness.
I have a concept
Sure.
as to something that's going on, and this is something that Tony's already starting with that. It's taking a look at the border crisis.
Sometimes I guess
Okay.
there just aren't enough rocks.
Okay, at the border, because we're talking about the border crisis, as Fox News would put out there.
Okay, then.
But the whole thing is, I think that we've always had certainly an influx of a lot of people at the border, and I think what we're seeing is
We need them.
of course we do. And I think what we're seeing is with the frustration of some of these states going completely full mental far right and busing busloads of them to the VP's house, which is totally overboard and totally way wrong. But I think what they're running into is it's something called compassion fatigue. And I think that they've been, some of those states have been open to, so many immigrants for so long. Those are our border states. We should have more like border centers there to be able to handle the influx of immigrants and to be able to transfer them out as opposed to just releasing them in.
You would think that those border states would do something about that, but they're all run by fucking Republicans.
At this point, right now, they are.
Suck the left one and make the right one jealous.
But I'm talking about the general population. That's why they voted the way they voted, to get them to the point where they're at. They wanted to vote for the a-hole. We talked about it before, that it was, they rule through, fear and through fear, lying, and basically trying to rewrite history. And it's all a wrestling type, pro wrestling type attitude.
WWE.
It's a Jerry Springer Nation.
Reality TV show.
Those are the fucking rules.
Racism, hate, racism, and fear.
Hate, racism, and fear. Yeah, exactly. That's it. And,
I know, because I have it in my notes.
Of course.
You can hear me.
Yes, we love our notes here. Yeah, we're
we
awesome
are actually write shit down on paper.
Yes, because we're old.
My mind is going. I can feel it.
What isn't going is the prices of things going down, even though the gas prices came down. What's up with that? I'm never doing that again because I don't know why.
We had everybody is bitching about chicken and eggs. Well, guess what? We had a little avian outbreak and nobody fucking knows about because it's been buried in the news because of all the Republicans. How about that?
Everybody freeze. Everybody down on the ground.
No, but we had a major avian outbreak and you have to fucking, what they say,
recover from it.
Cull all the chickens.
Yes.
Means kill all the chickens, but
why can't those religious assholes kill those chickens that we were going to kill anyway?
Yeah. Use them for their voodoo things.
Why can't your animal sacrifice people go and hang out with Mr. Banquet?
No,
and,
I like voodoo more than I like Christianity or Catholicism.
That was a DIY voodoo book in the 70s. Hoodoo voodoo, you do.
I didn't know about it.
Yes, big thing.
No.
Satire.
I didn't know they stacked shit that high.
They do. They honestly
Oh my God.
So Biden got dogs too.
Hold on. I'm going to start right here. I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to say one thing and one thing only. And Malcolm Nance coined this phrase, if not reiterated it from his learnings of being in the military and all his experience. Malcolm Nance. Consequences take a lot of planning. And I'm sorry, I feel like I'm going to put it right out there. I'm going to put out my conspiracy theory right the fuck now before we even talk about it.
Not even
I think
close.
If this is true.
It's straight from the files of Hunter Biden's laptop.
If this is true.
Allegedly.
The Secret Service of Joe Biden planted this shit. We have not trusted the Secret Service of Joe Biden since he came in office. We have the fucking dog biting him. We have people who were leaking information, and we know came from the Secret Service right in the beginning of Biden administration. I don't want to hear another fucking word about the Biden's documents. You know what the first box was? The first box, it was labeled personal. The lawyers of Biden went through the personal documents. It was all condolence letters for Beau when he died. and all the heartfelt and all the stuff, and then all of a sudden, there's classified documents thrown in between all the cards.
That was your sliding
The cards?
documents in?
Well, cards are this big, right?
Yeah.
Classified documents are this fucking big. They're gonna fucking stand out.
But that's your sound effect on it?
Fuck yeah, dude. And then who else? Sorry, but who else has access to Joe Biden's home in Delaware, where they just found more documents, classified.
Did they find nearly as many documents as they found at the shitty golf motel in
11,000
Did they find
pages.
close to that?
11,000 pages of classified documents. Not even a.
What did they find up in Biden's closet?
There's no crying in
10
baseball.
documents. Blah, blah. They found another one at his house. I'm sorry. Coincidences. Take a
7
lot of
years of
planning.
college down the drain.
And
But they were
the
found.
Secret Service has been a shit show since Trump. And I don't really. Go ahead. They just appointed a special counsel to investigate the Biden documents. Go ahead. Go ahead, you fucktards. It's just like Benghazi. It's a fucking big show and a big fucking distraction to look away from Trump and all his fucking crimes. Because his crimes are massive and on a colossal scale.
His crimes are mostly on those around, at the very least, around obstruction. Obstructionism, for sure.
Witness tampering.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. After the fact, witness tampering. But yeah, directly obstructionism.
How about
right
Trump
before,
stole
not even
documents? Biden
Yeah, we give
didn't
him-
know
we give
they
him
were
all too.
there. I mean, let's give Biden the
You know what they did? Trump did exactly what my buddy did when we had a party when we were in high school. And I told this story before. That, we were in this house, and there are all these people in the house, and the cops come to the door, and they're like, everybody's got to go. So everybody's got to go, okay. So everybody from the first room clears out, and then the cop's like, is there anybody left? No, nobody's in here. We're going to check. Okay, one minute, man. And he goes and clears out the next room. And this happens room by room. So it's the same scenario there, is that they were saying, no, we don't have any documents, and then they actually checked, and they still had documents. Totally different story from saying, oops, I accidentally have this document. Let me turn it back to you. And by the way, that was locked up in a garage with his Corvette. And if anything is going to be locked up, pretty well, a classic Corvette.
And
is
it's
going to have
not
some
a
alarm
country
systems
club
around it.
where people are
It's not a
coming
shitty
in and
golf
out.
motel.
It's his fucking house.
It's not Mariluni, which is a
Oh
shitty golf
God,
club.
the audacity, the hypocrisy, the gaslighting, the projection of the grand old party. I don't think people even realize anymore that GOP stands for the
Trump
grand old party.
Everybody freeze.
You mean the
Everybody down on
KKK?
the
You
ground.
mean white supremacist ass wipes?
KKK was started by the Skulls.
Grand old party.
The party that both
You're a
parties really used to
goddamn
own people at one
disgrace.
point.
Yeah,
so,
I'm just,
yeah.
it makes me sick. It
Yeah.
makes me sick.
Oh, yeah. I'm very
And you
sickened
know
by
what
it.
McCarthy said the last week? He was like, "Oh yeah, last week was very entertaining." You little pipsqueak cock-sucking motherfucking toe jam licking
He's got
earwax
the hammer.
off to my
motherfucker.
Millie's back.
I
He's
want
going
to.
Millie's been drinking.
I would
Nowhere.
like to kick his ass 6 ways to Sunday.
I'm having a shitty day.
I'm
I'm depressed.
Pissed.
Tell me a funny joke.
Super pissed. So, you got anything else? You want another point?
I've got a bunch of other things to talk
Go
about.
ahead.
If you wanted to move on to anything else.
No, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Really, I'd like to talk about something that, for me, it's kind of a sore spot throughout history, I guess.
I'm
But
gonna get there quickly.
this is okay. Shut up. I'm getting there.
No, I
Jeez.
feel like Stephanie Miller. Move on, man. Like,
Okay,
that's
so
good.
people have preferences on certain things. Now, when you have a preference on, say, your food, what difference does it make to anybody else? Here's an example of what I mean. Pineapple on pizza. Everybody seems to have an opinion. And
I like it.
If somebody orders pineapple on pizza and other people in the room, have you ever ordered it and had other people in the room who aren't going to be eating your pizza say, ew, how can you eat that? That's disgusting.
Good.
How can you do
I'll
that?
eat the whole pizza by myself.
But exactly. Here's
Just kidding.
the thing. For me, it's all about in ordering steak. When I order a steak the way that I like it, other people at the table get, ugh, that ruins that meat. And I'm like, well, if it would be a ruination of that meat if I made it the way that you wanted it, not the way that I want it.
What do you want it? Medium well?
I do well.
All right.
I do well done. So that's my take on it. And people who like rare and medium rare look at me like I'm crazy, and I don't get that because I'm not going to make their steak well. I'm not going to make them eat well steak. I like well steak, so I'm going to order it well. So when I get it, I'm going to eat it. If I order it the way that you want it,
If I ever
I'm not
cook a
going to eat
steak
it.
for you,
That's
I
a
will
waste.
make it well.
That's a waste of meat for me
Right.
to try to eat it the way that you would like it, though. So that's the whole thing. But people get this mindset that it somehow offends them when other people make choices that don't affect them at all, and it somehow relates back to things
Homosexuality and
along the
gay
lines of
marriage
LGBTQ
and it
same-sex
doesn't
marriage,
affect
all of
you
that
at all.
Does not affect you at all. And
Yep.
men talking about women's abortion rights it does not affect my body. It
Do you know how
pregnancy
infuriating
does not
this
affect
shit
my
makes
body.
me? Do you know how infuriating this shit makes me?
Oh, it should. And all I can do is support your infuriation over it because I don't really have a say in this. I don't have any.
Did you see the Missouri
All I can
State
do is
Legislature
be
this
supportive.
week banning women in the state legislature for exposing their arms?
It's Taliban light, kind
For
of.
fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I was like, are
It's not
you
good. It's not
kidding
good.
me?
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, and
And they have to wear another layer over their dress.
All
So
you
if they
gotta
wear a
say
dress, they have to wear
is
another
Hunter
layer. You're
bites
in Missouri. You're
laptop.
kind of in the fucking South, by the way. It's kind of hot down there. You don't have to layer up. Not like in Michigan where I'm like, I'm wearing fucking I'm wearing tank top. I'm wearing a fucking flannel shirt and a fucking Carhartt sweatshirt. Because it's fucking cold. It's 35 fucking degrees outside.
that's true. Yeah.
So, in
But,
Missouri,
right now
it's not that
bad.
cold.
Yeah.
And what they wear a jacket, like a blazer, over their dresses. They are required to do so. Are you fucking kidding? What are we in the goddamn fucking Handmaid's Tale? I'm gonna fucking blow a nut.
There's a dress code, which is just the fact that they feel that there needs to be a dress code to keep some people from being offended is offensive.
And the guy who was making the complaint was wearing a cardigan sweater, like just a regular cardigan, like kind of Brooks Brothers-ish sweater. And she's like, oh, I have a
wasn't made from organic
$1,500 designer sweater, and I'm not allowed to wear it on the floor. You've got to be fucking kidding me in 2023 where I'm still fighting this bullshit?
Yeah.
I always get my money, you cock-sucking
Abortion rights and what women wear?
It came
Fuck
back
you.
around. It came all back around.
Fuck you.
And it sucks.
Fuck you with a million rays of the hot fucking sun. Fuck you.
I use the phrase "fuck you up your dirty shithole."
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that one does it. A million rays of the sun.
Well, they raised the sun. Yeah, that is a bit. That is bigger. Yeah, that's a much better one than mine for sure. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
So, what's your favorite ice cream? Let's go through
Chocolate.
that. Chocolate.
No question.
No question. Chocolate, huh? Always been a thing. You go
Straight up.
You do cone or waffle cone or do just
A sugar
in the bowl?
cone chocolate ice cream is my
What about vanilla with
ecstasy.
chocolate on it? Does that count? Or
Negative.
does
It has to be
full
chocolate ice cream on a sugar cone,
Okay.
or you can just fuck off.
Okay. That's solid. That's solid. Nice.
All right, I
Nice.
have another question.
Mine's mint chocolate chip, by the way, in a bowl.
Mint chocolate chip in a
Always.
bowl.
Yeah. I don't.
I'm gonna tiptoe through the tulips with these
Fucking thing's gonna
assholes.
slow me down. Yeah. Tony, what do you got? You got tulips? You
Yeah.
want,
What's
you want
your
tulip?
favorite ice cream, Tony?
Vagina.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Available on Gwyneth Paltrow's website, goof.com. That's
Oh,
satire.
my God.
That's satire.
It is called
by the way.
satire. Oh my god. Oh my.
I think that's satire. There might be Gwyneth Paltrow's vaginal flavored
Oh Jesus,
ice cream
Tony!
out there. I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
No, don't. I'm gonna
asking the
barf.
question. Can we look that up, Tony? We might be able to buy some.
man. There's a beverage
Barf, dude. Don't
Let's see if we
even.
can get some. We'll try it right
Don't
here.
even.
It does taste like Gwyneth.
Okay.
no
Oh my
more
god,
Yankee,
I'm
my
gonna fucking
Yankee.
barf.
The donga needs food.
You guys are assholes. I'm always
Yes, we are,
surrounded
thank
by
you.
dudes, and it's very unfair. But what are you gonna do? I have a question.
Yes.
What bands did you like kind of overlook in your younger days when they were hot, but you love now? Because or you were turned on by somebody else. Like,
Yeah.
Tony said that I turned him on to Sade, Prince, and Motown. Sade, Prince, and Motown.
That's big.
That's
big.
kind of big.
Yeah.
He turned
said
me
it
on
loud.
now to Tool, Perfect Circle, Deftones,
Nice.
Rage Against the Machine,
Yeah.
which I all love
Like
now.
solid, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And which I did not listen to before in my younger days.
Right.
But Van Halen. Van Halen was hot when we were in high school, right? Super hot. I'm hot for teacher. Yeah.
I still use that after tuning. Just if somebody's listening, I'll check with this one. You know,
Yeah.
just because everybody remembers that line and everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Van Halen for me, like when it was out.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because it was played too much on the radio. Just like a lot of songs we got burned out on the radio.
Sure.
But we didn't have XM. We didn't have social media. We didn't have. All we had was FM radio back in the day. Because we are
FM and
what?
AM.
We're Gen X.
I don't know
Or
what
Gen-
you call us.
Are we Gen X?
I
think we're Gen X.
I think we're Gen X. Yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't have all the other platforms to listen to
Right.
this shit. We just had
Right.
local radio.
Mhm.
And that was it.
My
And-
third favorite band, someone handed me a stack of CDs and said, I burned these for you. I think you'll like this group. And they became my third favorite band of all time.
Who's that?
The Tragically Hip.
Tragically Hip. Yeah, you've mentioned them.
And,
Yeah.
Just an incredible
So,
band. Yeah.
what was it for you? Like,
Thank you for that.
anybody, like your wife, turn you on to anything? Or anybody else go, hey, you need to check out this band, and you didn't appreciate it when, like Depeche Mode or The Cure, or like, do you know what I mean?
No, because I was always really open with music because I started with Irish jigs and I moved on to classical and then I moved on to punk rock. So I've got an eclectic taste.
The Jam.
The Jam. Oh, the Jam is phenomenal.
Jam.
I love a lot of the British, pop music that was out there.
When
Squeeze
did you
is one of my
find out
favorites
about
as
the
well.
Jam? Did you know about the Jam back then,
I
or
knew
did you
about the
find
Jam
out
in the 80s,
later?
Yeah, I knew about
Okay,
it in the
yeah.
80s. I had cousins that turned me on to a bunch of.
Well, that's what I'm
different
asking.
music and
Is
stuff, yeah.
did you find out about a band later in life that you didn't know about when they were popular?
Not all too much. Well, maybe a little bit, but they weren't. They hadn't been around for that long. They had been around for maybe 15 years by the time that I heard about them, and that was you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. I like them. I think they're a fun groove. You know, they're not up in my faves or anything like that, but it's like, you know, super cool weekend. You know, listen to their grooves and all that kind of stuff. They're you know, they've got some really fun stuff.
Right.
And one of them is a graphic artist, and he does all kinds of fun stuff as far as creating puppets and creating animations and creating anime and all that kind of stuff for all their music videos and that sort of thing. So their music videos are pretty amazing. It's Gorillas with a Z.
Okay.
At the end, yeah. So they're kind of an interesting group, an interesting, fun band to see. But my wife turned me on to a band very similar to them, which is called Thievery Corporation. And Thievery Corporation, I have no idea. You and I are, for those of you who don't know at home, Di and I are musicians. We have been all our lives. So we know that we don't make very much money at all doing music. So Thievery Corporation, I have zero idea as to how they make any money doing anything, because they have, I lost track
We're
at
gonna
about
have to listen to this
38
after the show, so we're gonna
38 or
get
40.
copyright strikes. But yeah.
I lost track at about 38 or 40 different live musicians coming out on stage throughout the night for their show.
Wow.
Because they have a sitar player who comes out.
Oh my
they
God.
have you know, various
That's cool.
rappers who come out. They have all kinds of various stuff. It's amazing.
For the last few minutes of the show that we have left,
Yeah.
I do want to talk about this Keith Olbermann, the countdown with Keith Olbermann on iHeartRadio. He pointed out something that's a big development that was, you know, skirted under the news because of all the shenanigans in the Republican House and all this bullshit.
Right.
And that was, you know, because the story was buried under all the both sides whataboutism going on. CNN reported that Jack Smith and the DOJ has subpoenaed multiple Trump campaign officials to answer more than 24 different lines of questioning. One line of questioning is if anyone other than them is paying for their legal representation. If so, provide a retention agreement for that legal work.
Right.
That's a quote unquote.
Yeah.
Witness perjury for Trump or subordinate of perjury by a witness, an attorney paid for by somebody else who equals Trump. So if the lawyers who are representing you are being paid by the Trump administration in any way, shape, or form, we want to know about it.
Right.
And that's only one line of questioning. There are two dozen or more lines of questioning. So, you know, remember Cassidy Hutchinson?
Oh, yes.
And her attorney, Stefan.
I don't remember her attorney.
Pasatino.
Laughing at
No.
Pat Cipolloni's name.
Yeah.
Patsy Baloney.
He explained to her that she could just say she, quote, doesn't recall or doesn't remember, even if she did, unquote, because who knows what you recall. Nixon did the same on the tapes with John Dean. And John Dean explained it as coaching him on how to commit perjury and get away with it. It's like, basically they're asking, prove Trump did not pay for your attorney, is what they're asking. And, I can't read my notes here. Oh, yeah. Controlling what they may or may have not have testified to. So, it's like, if your lawyer's being paid by Trump and your lawyers tell you don't say this, don't say that, you are now committing perjury for Trump. And how come I seem so weirdo? Like, I don't know.
Or Trump or on behalf of Trump.
Yeah.
You're not on mic.
Well, I'm on mic. They're also investigating the questions that were also on the thing. Look at how I'm looking down because my microphone is not high enough. They're asking questions about the Dominion and the Smartmatic machines, the Save America PAC, the MAGA PAC.
No one should get access to those machines
Trump,
except the election workers.
All
period.
of them. There's so many PACs. Save America PAC, money on behalf of Trump campaign, post 2020 election. The money that they made. There was so much money that they made after that.
So who are we going to get to
The
push
new
through?
Trump crimes are so big and so deep, but aides to Biden have found a couple of documents and immediately cooperated and turned them into the.
But who are we going to get on our side, on the Democratic side, who is going to be able to step in and kind of, take over from this, the whole Biden aspect that we have right now? Who's going to be next? Who's going to be next to take on the DeSantis?
They've already appointed a special counsel as of today, so we will find out. And it's going to be just like Benghazi and just like her emails. They're going to find fucking nothing.
So who do we have right now in the Senate or the House that we think we can start talking to and start sending notes to and start getting them to start putting a bill together to limit PAC availability and to limit
what was that law?
Limit what PACs can do and limit what
what
powers
was that
PACs
law
have.
that the Supreme Court rescinded in like 2017 or some shit? Where all the dark money, what was it?
Campaign dark money had to be exposed.
Oh, what the hell was it called? Citizens United.
Okay.
I think that's what it was called. What the hell, Tony? You turning this on and off and shit?
We'll have to look into it.
By the way, when they found the documents, his lawyers and people immediately cooperated and turned them in.
Yes.
And you know what? They want a subpoena. They want to do this. How about they have to answer for the subpoenas? Like Jim Jordan was subpoenaed and never showed up, just blew it off. And now they want Democrats to show up for their subpoenas. I would say sit and spin, motherfuckers.
And if your theory is correct, if your theory is true, they're going to take down Biden. And they're going to take down Hunter Biden.
It's actually worse. It's actually worse for Trump.
Give him Hunter Biden.
This is actually worse for Trump.
But let's give him Biden as well.
No.
Because we need to move on. We need to get somebody else.
This is worse for Trump, and I'll tell you why.
I'm
because
judge 2024 myself.
Because they're going to investigate Biden for this horse shit, which they know nothing nefarious was done. And by the way, we don't know how they were put there.
They're going to keep trying this.
All of a sudden, in between all the condolence letters of
all
Beau Biden's condolence notes and letters, all of a sudden there's top secret documents shoved in there. I'm sorry. I have a fucking problem with this. I don't mean to be conspiracy theorist. This is my own fucking conspiracy theory. Everybody else can fuck off, but I will never fucking believe that Joe Biden did this deliberately and on purpose and nefariously to hide things. Trump documents that he hid were to cover up his fucking insurrection and his fucking collusion with fucking Russia. Tell me different. Prove me wrong. Fuck you.
Is that your final word?
That's my final fucking word.
You know what my final words for the show are? If we don't see you in the future, we're going to see you in the pasture. Thanks for listening to us.
Thank you
I'm
so
Brian P.
much.
Gallagher.
Thank you for listening to my rant. I'm Diane Russell. Brian, I love you. You're my dear friend. Thank you so much for hanging out.
You too.
Tony,
Enjoy
we
it.
love you.
We love Tony, of course.
And after you kiss me,
HBL Radio
I want you
Nation.
to wipe my mouth.
Don't forget to
Wipe
comment
my
below.
mouth.
Join us everywhere on all the social
Subscribe. We're trying to get
Subscribe.
maybe
Do
20
stuff.
followers. 30 would be nice.
media. If we can get 30, we're definitely doing it live, and we'll start letting you call in. How about
All right, we're
that?
going to jump over to House Barks Live.
Jump into hell.
Love you
Thanks,
guys.
I love you.
Even close, bud.
See you soon, Al.
Ciao, bella.